What up, gamers? It's your boy King Threats back at once again with another video. I mean, let's subscribe, don't subscribe. Listen. Look. Steam is trying it again. Steam is once again trying to jump into the living room space. This is their third attempt. They had the Steam machine, and they had the big screen mode, where you can stream your games to directly to your TV from Steam through your TV. They're trying to step into the living room space, which is a great thing, I think. With Xbox leaving the gaming space, somebody needs to fill those shoes. And I'm here to tell y'all that Steam just ain't gonna do it. It's just, if anything, Steam will expose just how garbage the PC gaming world is, right? I'm saying that if your PC gaming world is based on mods and shit, this ain't even for you. You know what I'm saying? I'm just going by what I can see, right? Let me start from the beginning. I'm going too fucking fast, right? But they came in fast, right? They came in with no respect for the gaming space. To me, if you ask me, they came in with no respect for their machine in the gaming space. But what I mean by no respect for the gaming space, I mean for like if they're attacking the console space or even the PC space, they've done this incorrectly. Let me sip my tea, dog. So, first off, like, you gotta understand that Steam isn't a hardware maker, and they don't know how to sell hardware, right? And how they've done this is clear. Like right now, like the day one of anything is hype. There was day one hype for the Xbox Series S, for God's sake, right? There's always a day one hype. We live in a society now to where when people see stuff, they'll say shit they don't really mean, or they'll say shit and talk about shit they didn't really check behind, right? We live in that world. We've been living in that world for years now, decade even. You know, I remember when the Xbox Series S was announced, and people were saying that the Xbox Series S is basically in competition with the PS5, not the Series X, because the Series X is way more powerful than the PS5. Like, I remember those days vividly about how much the Series S was going to be in the main competition because it was cheaper and it would run games exactly like the Series X would run, except it would have lower resolutions. And we all know how that turned the fuck out. You see, because hardware and software are two different things made by two different people. You know what I mean? Two different sets of people. And I'm not talking about first party games. This is why first party exclusives are important to hardware, to dedicated hardware, is because first party developers will utilize purposely all, if not, well, most, if not all of the things that this console offers, the unique things that these consoles offer. That's why exclusives matter. That's why exclusive first party games matter even more. Is because you have games that utilize the machine, right? Like PlayStation, like right now with Ghost of Yotei, how it utilizes the D-pad on the controller, or Astrobot, who would utilize the entirety of the controller for their games. Not many games that utilizes that controller, but these games also look crazy good. Like, you literally got ray tracing in an open world game at 60 frames per second, looking the way Ghost of Yotei looks and loading the way Ghost of Yotei loads. These type of things can mainly only be done with first party developers. Not because it's impossible for other developers to do, it's that other developers have to worry about other platforms. You know what I mean? So it would cost a lot more money to focus on that, a lot more money and time to focus that hard on a PlayStation, and then focus that hard on Xbox to utilize all of that, and then everything else. And the thing with PC is that there is no guideline for developers. There's no guideline for developers to be able to build a game that would utilize everything, because there's just so many different versions of a PC. So that's what PC gaming is the way PC gaming is because there's no solid ground to land on. It's not stable enough. And then you don't know where your market is. Like, because there's so many different variants of hardware out there that you have to sort of appease to all of them. And in that, you find your games have to be able to run certain hardwares. But if you make it to where like you can't make a 4090 game or a 5090 game, or you know what I mean, you can't make a game that will work on the most elaborate spec of hardware only, because that is the vast minority of PC gaming. And so now the vast majority of PC gaming are people who have lower spec PCs. But then you also have to navigate how much the lower spec PC gamers actually game. I think people don't think about the dynamic of why PC gaming itself is so scattered and unstable. Is because you have your hardcore PC guys that you can't feed because there's so little of them. And then there's so many of the ones who don't have that hardcore spec, but then they probably don't use their PC for gaming. They just have a Steam account and play some games on there. But they might use their PC for whatever else a PC is used for, because a PC ain't really a full-on gaming hardware. And so there's that measure in trying to balance and sell that shit out. And this is why you don't really see PC only games hit the mainstream especially as much as you used to. Right? Where in the console space, there's more control, there's more security in the console space, and you know what you're making shit for. So with this device, it kind of helps them. It will help developers have a hit point, but only if it sells. Because there's other hardwares out there, like I said, with PC, and since PC is so customizational, they can't really put a number on it. But if you get this to where you can see how many of these sold, then you can start making games for that. But it has to sell first. And that's its main weakness. It's that they don't have their own first party games like that. They ain't going to have no lineup of first party games like that. And developers aren't going to be able to make games specifically for that, simply because ain't nobody got one. So why the fuck would I waste my money on making a game for you? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's all business, because it's business on top of business. You got to understand that Steam is a launcher and only a launcher. It's a Steam. It's what you would call a low profit margin business. All right. Sony and Microsoft. Sony is also in this low profit margin business, but they make first party games which make 100% profit. Well, not 100%. Never 100%, but still, you get a higher profit margin. Your profit margin is crazy, right? With the Xbox, since Microsoft is leaving the console space and going more towards publishing games, they make a 70% profit margin, and that's why their profit margins are higher. Right? Their aim was to get larger profit margins on game sales, and that's what they're doing. With this, it's all risk, and you're starting from the bottom. They had a Steam Deck, and they never made a game specifically for the Steam Deck. They've had old Steam machines and never made a game for old Steam machines, even though old Steam machines was made by third-party companies. You know, the Steam Deck was basically the first time they actually did something themselves. So it's like the sales market of this device has already got it behind, right? It's already behind because there's no real reason to buy it. I don't know how it is on PC side. Maybe PC gamers like to have people who like to buy trinkets and all that, but you're not going to make it mainstream. This will never make mainstream. This Steam Deck that we got right here today, will never make mainstream. And it didn't. It took the wrong steps. Why in God's name was this announced on Twitter and like YouTube? You know, like for fucking. It's a new product. If you want to step into the space of hardware, you need to be able to sell that hardware. The point of your hardware is to be able to sell more of it so you can gain more control, right? In reality, if we're keeping it a fucking buck, Steam just wants to grow Steam OS right now, right? That's their main thing. They're on Windows OS mainly, and because Windows OS is the biggest, but Windows OS is getting weaker and weaker. People are wanting different options, and so they're on Linux with their OS, and they have their own Steam OS as well, right? So or however the fuck that works, they got Linux and Steam OS, right? So it's clearly a bid to do away with the Microsoft Windows OS and try to find different options outside of that Windows OS. But still, you need to sell your products in order to push that OS. And they've been trying to push the Steam OS since the first Steam machines, right? And failed on it. And they've been having Steam OSs for years ever since now. But now that is starting to gain more popularity, right? The Steam OS. But the way they launched this shit was trash. You got the Game Awards coming up. This should have been an announcement at the Game Awards when a lot of gamers, not only gamers, but developers and publishers and all of that have their eyes on this show because everybody's going to be watching the show. Not everybody, but you have a mass majority of people who are going to watch the show. There's no more E3. So people like who want to see something, who have this prospect of seeing new games. Like I only watch the Game Awards for the trailers. I don't give a fuck who wins the game of the year. I think it's all voted by people who ain't gamers in the fucking first place. So why the fuck would I care about what they believe is game of the year if they ain't played the game they call the game of the year? You know what I'm saying? But still, that's just me. That's just me. But still, I know that people watch it, if anything, for the trailers. And they should have had a trailer launching the Steam OS. That's how Microsoft went from having a trash-ass Xbox One to then rebuilding hype for the Xbox Series by having the Xbox Series have a surprise announcement launch, or not launch, but a surprise announcement, of this shit happening, right? This shit's coming out next year. The Steam OS is coming out. The Steam machine is coming out next year. And Microsoft did the same thing. I think in 2019, they showed that it was coming out in 2020, right? And they showed the game. They showed the game exclusively for Xbox, which was Hellblade 2, right? They lied about how the shit looks, but it still came out looking good, just plain bad. But still, there was that hype behind that. There was not only a hype behind the machine, but more so was hype behind how the game looks on that machine and what games are going to be exclusively for that machine for me to want to buy that machine. You got to have a reason to sell your machine, like regardless of what you do, but you got to be able to get in front of the eyes. You don't have a state of play. You don't have a developers direct or a Nintendo Treehouse, what the fuck they call that shit. You don't have that for Steam, right? So you need to piggyback off something that's bigger than you, and as far as where people's eyes are, people do not watch, not even PC gamers, watch like PC gaming conferences. They're fucking boring. They're full of little ass indies that nobody fucking want. Facts, not fiction. You know what I mean? And so they fucked up on not putting themselves in front of the eyes like this. You can be on Twitter all day and you're going to have the same Twitter personalities saying the same shit. You know what I'm saying? You're going to have the same Twitter personality. Then you're going to have a YouTube and you have a lot of people watch your shit and all that, but the hype is not there. Especially if your aim is for people who don't have high-end shit. You can people who don't have high-end shit, like they don't got their ear to the goddamn streets on gaming. They don't really have that big of a care or passion for gaming like that. Not saying that there's anything wrong with that, but I'm just saying that they're not into the mainstream gaming part. Why would you have a gaming PC that don't really, that's no powerful than this, right? And, give a fuck about games that you're not gonna be able to play anyway, like you're not giving a fuck that much, like you're reaching the vast minority. You're trying to reach the vast majority of PC gamers, but by doing it in a way that they won't see. You're having the hardcore motherfuckers, the people who aren't going to buy your shit, see this shit. You know, or people who would just buy it just to say they bought it, make a YouTube video about it, and pretend that they're enjoying it. That's the only ones that you're going to get. So if you're trying to get free commercials, then I guess there you have it, I guess. I don't know. But in reality, like, they started off by launching it wrong, by not putting it in front of everybody's faces. So now it's a Twitter talk. Now it's a YouTube talk. And then when the Game Awards come around, if you have a trailer there, it's not going to have that same impact, because then you're not going. It's going to be like the people who've seen it already is going to be like, okay, well, what games are going to be on it, or what are you going to show me? You going to show me a controller, nigga? Like, what are you going to show me? So, I kind of struggle on seeing who's this aimed at. I have people telling me that it's aimed for consoles. People telling me that it's aimed for PC players with a lower spec, and some people telling me that it's aimed for high end PC guys who just want something that's easy and compact, that they don't got to unplug their shit and put it into a TV and still play their libraries. And that sounds like it was made for a lot of people. But then it's like, at the end of the day, you're selling to people who already have the devices. What do you have that's going to remove me from PlayStation, remove me from an Xbox and a Nintendo Switch, or a PC? Like, what do you actually have that's going to remove me? Don't tell me your storefront when your storefront is full of games that are very small indie games. And don't tell me your storefront just because you got Xbox and PlayStation games on there, when my Xbox and PlayStation will be able to run these games better. Was that VRAM 8 gigabytes? Like, how the fuck do you even live with that? Like, what game are you running? You can't barely run current gen games on that. It don't even matter how much you sell it for at that point. It's acceptable if it's a handheld, because people be like, well, it's a handheld, so it's not going to be able to run this and that and do this and that the way you want to do this and that. It's like you know, they give that excuse of it's a handheld. This ain't a handheld. So there ain't no excuses. There isn't no excuses. If you want to roll with the big boys, you're going to have to play like the big boys. This system is handicapped on every front. On every front. I'm not even on every front. It's a fucking handicap, man. And I watched their little sit down that they had with IGN. They had a little sit down with them, and they kept mentioning the fucking Steam Deck. I'm like, why do they keep bringing up the Steam Deck for? Like, oh, it's just like a Steam Deck. It's a Steam Deck, but you know, like, it's Steam. It's like, why the fuck do you keep mentioning the fucking Steam? Like, that's not a good mention, nigga. But I think, see, what I believe is that they're soon going to also announce a new Steam Deck. And they're going to have the Steam Deck have the same specs as this. That's why they kept saying, oh, it's 6 times more powerful than a fucking Steam Deck. I'm like, cool. It's 6 times more powerful. Did you just say FSR? To get 60 frames per second? So we got fake frames. So it's like shit that we're dealing with now. Okay, we're dealing with shit now. Like, I don't think people get how much of a failure this is. Let me ask you a question. Is it going to sell more than a Wii U? Is it going to sell more than a fucking Wii? Or when are we going to actually hold these motherfuckers accountable like we hold consoles accountable to shit? Like, if you're going to make a dedicated hardware, then if you're going to look at it from a console perspective, then will it sell more than a Wii U? Because we've made fun of a Wii U. It's like there was always this, like, when it came to Steam and the way Steam is with the Steam Deck, like, they didn't hold it accountable for its lack of sales, right? If they people keep saying, oh, they're in competition with the Switch and they can play Switch games, they can play PlayStation games, and then don't sell 3 million motherfucking Steam Decks. You know what I'm saying? Like, fucking the Nintendo Switch 2 has already outsold the entirety of every single fucking handheld gaming quote unquote PC. Already outsold it. Less than a year. Do the populace actually want this? I get like Steam is a successful store. Get that. But they're not selling to the right people. Steam is a successful place, but Steam Deck, the Steam machine and the Steam Deck is not being sold correctly, and it will never be successful because of that. It will never reflect the attach rate that they have. And it's because a lot of people don't understand that the majority of Steam players are fucking in China. Is there a China trailer anywhere? Did y'all make a Chinese trailer for them Chinese motherfuckers that have Chinese Steam? Because they make up the majority of the people that you have. No, you focused it on the Western. Because you know the Western society is more susceptible to bullshit and to try to hype up bullshit that they just automatically want to stand behind without even knowing what the fuck it is. But at the end of the day, y'all should be pushing the Chinese market hard. But see, it's hard to get into the console space of that. The reason why Steam is so fucking successful in China is because China loves Steam. Their government will allow Steam to happen. They don't barely allow PlayStations and Xbox. They barely got that up in the motherfucking market over there. But it's like, y'all should have Chinese influencers on this shit tough. Like, if it even matters. But if you already losing half of your user base because you can't sell it in China, then you have a whole lot more work to do. And it makes it even more imperative that you put this in front of as many people as you can, bro. You need to make a spectacle about it. You can't have two dudes sitting on a fucking couch talking about Steam Deck and how similar it is to Steam Deck. You're not going to sell it. Like I said, it's always that initial hype of people saying, "Oh, it's going to sell. It's going to hurt Xbox's thing too." Like people saying that shit too. I don't believe that either. Honestly, I don't believe that either. I think that Xbox is doing enough to hurt itself. I don't think that this is going to affect the trajectory or the deflation of the Xbox brand. I think Microsoft is doing a pretty good job by themselves. I don't think that market, that both of these guys are trying to attack the same market. I don't think that market gives a fuck about either of those things. The market doesn't care about OEMs are not new, right? They have PC console hybrids, which we want to pretend that we want to call it that. That's been around for decades. And it has never picked up. You know why they never picked up? Because it doesn't fucking offer shit. It sits in the middle of the worst spaces in the gaming space. It doesn't give PC gamers what the fuck they want. It doesn't give console gamers what the fuck they want. It just wants to exist. It just wants to leech off of what those platforms have created. It wants to leech off of having third-party developer games on a platform without actually offering anything to the gaming space. What does a Steam Deck offer to the gaming space? Huh? What the fuck does it offer? Honest to fucking God, it's not going to give you the specs that you want. It's not going to give you the freedoms of PC. It's not going to be able to play all your PC games. You understand that? Like, you're going to have a thing called Steam Machine that doesn't have the ability to properly play every game on Steam. How is that a plus? How is that a plus? You got to look for games that work on this shit. Don't even give you a list. How is that a plus? How? You know what I'm saying? Like, how the fuck, whether you own these games already or not, how is that a plus? Oh, its main selling point is that it can play games that you already own. like it's a launcher with a box. That is it. It doesn't offer new exclusives. It doesn't offer any new wow factor to the game in space. It has a fucking controller that looks crazy as fuck with no innovation on it whatsoever. Like, it just, like, and it doesn't have innovation. I want y'all to say, "Oh, the mouse trackpad, bitch, that's Steam Machine 1, nigga," and that shit fell through the water so fucking quick. Like, nobody want to fucking play like that. You gotta have it. Look how far down you gotta put your thumb away from buttons and shit too. Like, how far down you gotta put your fucking thumbs to do that? Who the fuck wanna? PC gamers don't even game like. Who the fuck wanna do all? It offers nothing. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. I'm just saying that, bro, you need to offer the gaming space something. You need to offer them something. You know what the biggest nail in the fucking coffin is? The biggest nail in the coffin is this. To add insult to injury on not having a powerful platform, not having games that utilize that platform to even impress, like say a Nintendo and have they have a lower spec console, but then their first party games impress because these first party games take advantage of the console better than anybody else would be able to. You not only not have that, you're launching in 2026, the weakest point in PC gaming. 2026, because no matter what y'all say, no matter what anybody wants to tell y'all out there on these gaming motherfucking streets, no matter what the fuck y'all motherfuckers want to say, gaming is the heart. And anybody who doesn't respect that fails, regardless. That is the reason why everything is everything. The fact that you're launching in 2026, the same year that Wolverine is launching on PlayStation, the same year that Grand Theft Auto is launching on fucking consoles, the same year that Gears E-Day or whatever is launching, they're supposed to launch. I don't think Fable won't launch in 2026. But still, the same year that these major games are launching, right? I mean, less so E-Day, but still, E-Day is still major. I'm going to get that. I'm a Gears fan, so if they're going back to Marcus Phoenix days, I'm with it, right? On PlayStation. But still, you won't get Grand Theft Auto. You don't have enough power to run a Wolverine if it did come years later. To run an E-Day if it did come day and date. You offer the lower end quality, or not at all, of the biggest games in the gaming space. Everyone is going to be clamoring for Grand Theft Auto, whether you like it or not. I don't even like Grand Theft Auto. I'm not a big fan of Grand Theft Auto. But I respect the legacy. I respect how great, and I understand how great Grand Theft Auto is. I just be having motherfucking open world fatigue. Like I want to arc. I'm gonna still buy it. I bought every fucking Grand Theft Auto. I still buy it, play them, beat them, but I'm not a big fan of them, right? But I know the legacy behind this game can come out fucking garbage and still sell more than any game out, period. And it's gonna sell for years. You're gonna go at least a year without it, and once it comes out, it may not run on this motherfucking platform. You have an unsure platform. You have a platform out there that you guys have made that people aren't even going to be sure is going to even be able to run on your gaming platform. That is insane. It'll be in the library. You'll see it. You'll see it in the catalog of games that you can buy on Steam whenever it comes to Steam. And then you still have to see that, this shit gonna run at 2 frames per second. Like, because it's not made for this device. Like, it's just horrible. Like at first I was like, it might flop, right? Because I thought about 2 or 3 things. But when it came to like 5 or 6, and then when you really think about the impact that Grand Theft Auto is going to have, people are going to be buying PlayStations for Grand Theft Auto. They are. They just are. I'm sorry. Your platform is going to be there for sale, and motherfuckers is going to be like, well, Grand Theft Auto ain't on this. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just the worst. Yeah, I mean, it's not your fault. Maybe you tried to come out a year after Grand Theft Auto, because it's supposed to come out this year, but got delayed or something. I think it was supposed to come out this year. I think in the first beginning, and then early 2026, now late 2026. You're fucked. You're fucked. You're fucked. If you can't run this game, you're fucked. PC gaming space, they used to being fucked. But as far as you trying to recruit console gaming side of the shit, you're fucked. Like, because you just don't have... Console gamers look at games. That's what the fuck they want. You know? And then if the specs are bad on the PC side, like these PC dudes look at those specs, it's going to be an issue, bro. Like, it's going to be an issue. Whether you fucking like it or not, you didn't launch it right. You don't have any fucking exclusives. You have a VR that people ain't really giving a fuck about in the first place. And you're going to launch in the same year as some of the biggest hits of the generation is going to launch, and it's not even going to launch on your platform. The only big hit that's coming out next year that may be a big hit coming out next year is going to be Gears E-Day that'll launch day and date on Steam, and you probably won't be able to run it. In your first year, your most important year. And on top of that, you have nothing in the pipeline that will say, hey, buy this because we have this game. So you don't have that. You have nothing in the pipeline to say, hey, this is going to be more powerful. You can update this chip. You can take this out and put a 6090 in it. You're not going to be able to do that. Like, literally, you are just a storefront with a box to sell your OS. And you've made it unattractive. Not only to console gamers, but to PC gamers. And again, you have a giant weakness in the PC space because the majority of those gamers that run Steam are in China. So you're already like people can say what the fuck they want to say, dog. Like, I ain't gonna tell y'all not to listen to. Hey, listen to those niggas all the fuck you want. Right? Listen to them. Listen to them. But when y'all start showing that, oh, I'm about to be, my main attractiveness is banana or CSGO. You can't have Fortnite on it because that's an epic thing. You know what I'm saying? Call of Duty, I don't know. People saying Call of Duty ain't going to be on it, but I don't know about that. But I don't fuck about Call of Duty regardless. And then Grand Theft Auto's not going to be on there. So then it starts to turn into like, you really just don't have anything to offer. Nice concept. You put the faceplates on it and change the light bar. You know, add some memory probably. They say you can tinker with it. I think I even heard them say you could change the OS if you want. Well, why the fuck would I want to do all that? I just want a game. And you guys keep saying like, oh, it's easy. It's easy to get into. You can go in there and it's easy. And, it updates in the background. Like, that's nice. That's nice. That's so nice. That's so nice. It really is. It's nice. That's nice. And really, it's nice. That's nice. You can update games and that's nice. That's so fucking nice. But you have said absolutely nothing to truly attract people to your platform. You can have all the Steam sales you want. PlayStation have Steam sales. I mean, it's have sales all the time. Xbox has sales all the time. Steam ain't the only place that have sales. Nintendo got games for 49 cents, for God's sake. You can't sit there and say, fucking, they got EX Layer for fucking 99 cents on PlayStation, bro. Like, and Xbox, I think, and Steam. Like it's fuck your deals. Like, not fuck your deals. Just bring some fucking games. They should have fucking worked. They went into this shit half-assed. And they're going to pay for it. They should have learned that lesson from the Steam Deck. They should have learned that lesson from the Steam Machine Part 1. That if you walk into this bitch and you don't have exclusive games, it will not sell. I don't care what these fucking bitch ass... I'm not trying to disrespect nobody, bro. I'm not trying to disrespect nobody. But I don't give a fuck what these motherfuckers are trying to tell everybody that like, they say everything don't matter that matters, right? Oh, console sales don't matter. Okay, fine. Okay, console sales don't matter. The way you make money don't fucking matter, sure. Exclusives don't matter. Or it don't matter. Are we gonna see how the fuck it matters, bro? It don't matter. It don't matter. Then why didn't the Steam Deck sell? Why did the Nintendo Switch sell? Why did PlayStation sell and Xbox didn't sell? You know what I'm saying? Like why? Oh, why aren't PlayStation games selling Steam? Even selling on Steam? Huh? Why is that? Like, you can't keep piggybacking everybody and think that you're going to make a difference. Steam, I know the company is based on piggybacking other people's creations, and the only thing you do is launch them. But now you want to create hardware, you're going to need to create software to sell the hardware. You are only doing half the job. Rather you like it or not, rather I like it or not, rather PC gamers like it or not, you need to make games for your platform to attract people to your gaming platform. Because other than that, it's TV all over again. I don't need you to resell me third-party games. I don't need you to take away from my friend list, to take me away from my library that I have on PlayStation or an Xbox for no reason. Okay? If I own, we see it on the fucking Xbox Ally ROG that they want to pretend that was an Xbox, that they have to pay for cloud to access their own games that they've paid for already. Like, you play games on the cloud and then fuck your cloud, bro. Like, bring games to the table. I would love to see it. I would be there for it. Fuck. If you gave me a reason, I would buy you. If you gave me a reason. But if your reason is furry Hitler, nigga, I don't need you. I don't need you for a grip of indie games that I ain't never heard of or want. I'm not finna pay you something. I have a Nintendo for that. I have a PlayStation for that. If PlayStation has your best games and you are having to wait for the best games that I don't have to wait on a PlayStation or an Xbox or a Nintendo, then I don't need you. That's coming from a console gaming perspective. PC gamers, I don't know. They like those little small ass bullshit games. But from what I understand with PC guys is that power matters. That's all they say. Oh, it's working. It looks better on my PC. It looks better on my PC. I have more frame rates and resolutions on PC. And if you are offering them 8 motherfucking gigabytes of VRAM, I don't see how much you're going to actually do on that side of the street either. Other than that, nigga, it is what it is. I'll just sit here and watch it fail like I watched the last Xbox, goddamn, the last Steam Deck fail. And it's sickening because you just don't learn your lesson. You're too busy trying to piggyback that you don't want to learn your own lessons. You want to sell your OS, you want to sell this hardware, but you don't want to make games to do it. You can't make a gaming platform without games. That don't make sense. You are only doing half the work. Stop depending on others to push your platform for you. Make your games, make them utilize the specs in your fucking little platform. Make some unique specs, something that people that can actually like look forward to seeing how that will work on your shit. And make games that attracts people to your platform or you will fucking fail. And don't ignore the Chinese half of your fucking user base. I'll leave y'all with this. I'll leave y'all with this one. All right. Leave in the comment section if you disagree. But I'll leave y'all with this one question. Will it sell more than the Wii U? I don't believe it'll sell more than the Wii U. The Wii U is the biggest failure or one of the biggest failures in console gaming history, right? For one of the biggest companies, for the biggest company in the gaming space, the most important company in the gaming space. 14 million, right? They sold, and that was one of the biggest failures in gaming history. I don't believe that it will surpass that. I don't believe it. I don't believe that it will surpass that. And if you disagree, if you think it's going to sell more than 14 million units, explain to me in the comments how. Don't tell me it will. Don't tell me you're dumb. It's going to sell. None of that. I don't need to hear none of that shit. I'm going to gloss over anything that says something stupid like that. And I read all my comments, even the dumb ones, even the ones that be having a block when they get racist or say some stupid shit. But I read them. Leave in the comments how it's going to outsell the Wii U. Please. With no games. Tell me how it's going to do it. Without Grand Theft Auto coming out this year. Nigga, Wii U had Mario, bro. Like Mario Kart. I implore you to tell me, because y'all keep saying how exclusives don't matter and all that. Exclusives don't do anything. Well, this Steam has games from multiple platforms. Will it sell more than a Wii U? And if it ain't with games, I'm gonna need to understand how. Other than that, it is a complete flop. Keen Dress Gaming. Like, subscribe, don't subscribe, know what time it is. I'm out. Wait. One thing. I almost forgot. I almost forgot. All right. The whole Xbox versus this. The whole Xbox PC hybrid versus this. People are wondering whether or not this will hurt the Xbox. And I think I touched on it a little bit, but let me just give you a little bit more feedback that I meant to give. So I'm gonna add this to the video I just made. That's why that was going to be the end of the video. But I just thought about that as soon as I was about to fucking upload that one. I thought about this. That I forgot to add this. So I don't think that it will beat the Xbox, depending on what the Xbox does. Well, I don't want to call it an Xbox because I don't believe it's I know it's not an Xbox. It's not an Xbox. The Xbox is a console, right? A console based on the DirectX, right? But whatever this hybrid is going to have the Xbox brand name on it, right? I don't think this hurts Microsoft's plans at all. Only because it's just Steam, right? And if that new Xbox thing that comes out will have the same weaknesses as the Steam Deck does, if it's a PC console or PC hybrid. I don't know how it can be impossible for it to be a PC console hybrid. I hate that term because there are games that's not going to work on it. GTA being one of them. If this thing plays PC games, then it is a game. I mean, a system that plays PC games, not console games. Those are two different segments of games. If you understand what I mean. So I don't think it's going to beat. I don't think it'll be even probably competing with Xbox. As far as sales goes, right? Like I said, I just put out a challenge to ask whether or not it's going to sell more than a Wii U. I don't think either one of them are going to sell more than a Wii U, but I think that the strengths Microsoft is probably going to have more of, but we don't know yet. But from what Microsoft is saying, they're going to have a different strength than this, simply because the power factor. What people aren't realizing is that the Xbox device that comes out, or whatever device Microsoft makes, right? The first party one, or whatever the fuck they're doing with this hybrid bullshit, right? Playing the PC version, they both won't have GTA, right? But the Microsoft one, if it has more power, will be able to run GTA better. But even further, I can elaborate. I can go even further than that. The Xbox OEM or whatever the fuck they're making, more than likely will be able to play more Steam games than the Steam machine. There's no such thing as a Steam game. That's what you got to understand. The Steam machine, Steam is just a launcher. That's it. It's just a launcher. And they put so little power on this that not all Steam games are going to be compatible with that device. And I don't know if Microsoft's device is going to have more compatibility, but more than likely it'll be more powerful than Xbox Series X, right? And if it is, that means that they can play more current gen games than this Steam machine will be able to do. And don't get me wrong, I don't want y'all to think that here's a quote from Steam themselves. This is something that Steam themselves have said.
And, the thing like Steam Deck Verified, it's also a great example of that, right? So people can sort of know whether the game is going to run without having to do a bunch of research, etc.
The Steam machine is also going to have a verified program. Our intent is that if you're using the Steam machine and the controller together, you have essentially the same experience as the Steam Deck, where the Steam store guides you to games that we know from testing that every part of the game will be playable with correct, acceptable performance, but also every dialogue, every feature of the game will be accessible with the controls that you have at your disposal. In fact, a lot of those testing, those test criteria will be common between Steam Deck and Steam Machine, because things like SteamOS compatibility, any sort of Proton bugs, that could be causing issues in the experience will be common across those platforms.
Just clarify, like there'll be separate badges, so be clear whether this is a Steam Deck verified or a Steam Machine verified, etc.
So there's a lot of variances, and I don't know if the Xbox thing. This is why this whole concept of what Western gaming companies are trying to do and mixing PC and console and making it something, it's just making it more complicated than what it needs to be. I don't even know if the Xbox version of stuff was going to have the same verification methods per se. I don't know, but as you can see, there's going to be a lot of software that are going to have issues running on these platforms, especially the Steam. That's what they're saying. The Steam machine. There's going to be verified games. They like you don't even on console. You don't need to verify a game. It just works. And I know Xbox thing is in a console. But I also don't know if you're going to have to verify shit. If it's powerful enough to run everything, then I don't see why it would need to be verified. But at the same time, I don't know. We need more information on both. But from what I understand, they're going to make this next thing more powerful than the Series X. Microsoft is. And if that's the case, it's already more powerful than the Steam machine. So that within itself, if it's going to play the same exact games, and with Microsoft having the ability to play more of them at a better frame rate and resolution, it automatically gives Microsoft and all, like I said, it has Steam, like mixing these stores together. Just like I said, Steam is dumb for that would have been an exclusive thing for Steam machine, but Steam, it doesn't have exclusives, just like Xbox doesn't have exclusives. So Xbox and Steam's name's going to go collide, and then it's going to come down to price and performance and stuff like that. And I don't know if Steam is going to be able to beat Microsoft. If Steam machine launches at the same price as fucking Xbox's or Microsoft's little machine, but the Microsoft machine is more powerful, then it will lose the already losing battle of these things in the first place. And then also I wanted to just sort of highlight like one of my concerns that I mentioned earlier in the video about how many times they compared the Steam machine to a Steam Deck. And it just seems like all it really is the new upgraded Steam Deck, but then put into a Steam box to make it a Steam machine, just because they got a lot of feedback or they got the numbers on how many people were plugging their Steam Deck into a screen. You know what I mean? So it's like they didn't really come up with this idea as far as, hey, I want to do this to make money off of this in this way. They saw, oh, look at these numbers. Let's do something about that. And here's just a highlight of how many times they've mentioned the Steam Deck and how similar they are and all that good shit in one interview. Like, it's just crazy how just even looking at that, just showing the mindset of how lost they truly are in trying to sell hardware in the gaming space.
Our intent is that if you're using the Steam machine and the controller together, you have essentially the same experience as the Steam Deck.
So we heard a lot of good feedback on the fast suspend resume from Steam Deck. Steam machine has that as well. And, the thing like Steam Deck verified is also a great example of that, right? So people can sort of know whether the game is going to run without having to do a bunch of research, etc.
Of course, all the elements from Steam Deck and the general SteamOS experience are there. Something that happened shortly after Steam Deck released was that a lot of games started detecting that they were running on Steam Deck to pick exactly the right default settings, right, for an experience that the game developer considered balanced, which is a pretty small amount of work for a game developer. We expect the same thing will happen with Steam Machine. You know, between having shipped the Steam Deck and having made a lot of progress on game catalog compatibility with developing Proton and all that, it felt like it was the right time. When folks do any work to get to the Steam Deck verified stage, it's usually work that either improves text legibility on smaller displays, or is going to make the game run better on lower end PCs. Stuff that helps everyone, right?
Is the Steam Deck kind of proved that to us? Like the reception that we got from Steam Deck, people obviously love the portability and the handheld form factor. But one of the big pieces of feedback we got was that they also just love SteamOS and the convenience of SteamOS.
Definitely, just like Steam Deck paved the way for SteamOS on a variety of third-party handhelds, we expect that Steam Machine will pave the way for SteamOS on a bunch of different machines. It's really the same idea as the Steam Deck. Just like Steam Deck, every single Steam Deck has the same level of performance and can run all the games on Steam and all the games that are Steam Deck verified. And then the Steam Deck, it's been out the back of our minds, right? But in terms of the Steam Deck docked experience, we get a lot of feedback just organically from users talking between themselves on discussion forums, or just doing game reviews that are happening on Steam Deck and other things. We don't have a ton of detailed data on like what's happening with the Steam Deck in real time, but we have things like the Steam Hardware Survey, and when we look at that, it's between 10 and 15% of Steam Decks at a given time are connected to an external display.
That's kind of what is so important to us about the Steam Deck docked experience. It's just kind of the proof of existence of SteamOS being ready to be played on the big screen, basically.
Our intent is that if you're using the Steam Machine and the controller together, you have essentially the same experience as the Steam Deck. In fact, a lot of those testing, those test criteria will be common between Steam Deck and Steam Machine.
It'll be clear whether this is a Steam Deck verified or a Steam Machine verified, etc.
And you can navigate through launcher screens, and you can easily do everything that you need to do, just like you could on, say, the Deck touchscreen. Or we did it in the Deck, and for us, that really showed that it was possible. So with a docked Deck, a desktop PC, and really anything that runs Steam, we expect that there might be a reason that someone would want to use the new Steam controller with it.
Like, I never heard people selling a new product mention their like 3-4-year-old product so many more times than the actual new product. Like, they've brought up and gave more props to Steam Deck than they have trying to sell this new hardware. So it's like, I don't know who they're gonna beat with this kind of plan and this kind of presentation. It's just crazy to me. Not to mention all the things that was said. It's just crazy. It was a lot of things they try to mix up and lines they tried to cross as well. It's like, why you even like that? Why they had these two guys? They look nervous as hell just talking. And it's just like, I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. I'm just saying that you're trying to sell a new product into a new space that y'all trying to create that's in between two major parts of gaming. And both of those major parts of gaming are doing what they do better than your one that's trying to sit in the middle. And Microsoft is trying to do the same thing, get in the middle of that. And I just don't see them being able to navigate better than Microsoft at this point. Not with this. I just have it. Xbox beat the last Steam machine. Xbox won. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it didn't sell better than Microsoft's worst Xbox. So depending on how strong Xbox's name is versus Steam's name versus what specs are in the Xbox, I don't know if they can beat Xbox or not, bro. But we'll find out. I'm just saying that in my point of view, I don't see neither one of them selling more than the Wii U. And I don't see Steam overtaking Microsoft. But it will give them competition, and competition is healthy. It's just that neither one of them are competing properly. Like, on one you'll have Game Pass and Fortnite, on the other one you'd have Steam accessories that also work on the Xbox. I'm on Microsoft one. This way of selling is stupid. It's always been stupid. This is why exclusives are needed. if anybody wants to know why exclusives are truly needed, it's these two systems going head to head. Because what's exclusive about it? If it surfaces, you know what I'm saying? Like a $30 service is the differentiating factor, or is it the power vector? Like, what's the difference? The price? Everything but actual games and gaming systems are what's competing, and y'all think that that's going to be something attractive. It's wild to me, bro. It is. It's just fucking crazy. And like I said, it's all about their OS. They don't care about shit else. They only care about their OS and about selling the OS. What Steam ultimately is doing. They're not even trying to sell this platform. They are trying to sell the OS, like I said earlier in the video. And here's proof of them saying exactly that. They see the opportunity to sell the OS. They can give two shits about a Steam machine.
One of the big pieces of feedback we got was that they also just love Steam OS and the convenience of Steam OS. And just getting that feedback essentially proved to us that we finally have the pieces needed to make the original vision of SteamOS a reality.
Yeah, in fact, to some extent, that's already the case today, and we've seen enthusiasts in the community, both folks with existing products like other handhelds, but also people bringing their own PCs, actually get some measure of success installing SteamOS from the Steam Deck recovery image, because we've been continually expanding hardware support so that you would have a better chance of success. So I think to some extent that's already happening, but definitely just like Steam Deck paved the way for SteamOS on a variety of third-party handhelds, we expect that Steam Machine will pave the way for SteamOS on a bunch of different machines in either similar form factors, different perf envelopes, different segments of the market, and get to a good outcome there. We definitely want to encourage people to try it out on their own hardware. And we'll be working on expanding hardware availability over time as well, or hardware support for the drivers and the base operating system.
So the focus is very clear on both of these companies and this competition that they're having with each other. It has nothing to do with gamers or making gaming better. It just has something to do with either their OS or their service. And it's all about expanding their own businesses and not expanding our experiences. And that's just something that overall just bothers me as a gamer, because I don't give a fuck about how good or bad your fucking business is doing. What games are you offering me? They say gaming is a selfish thing, and it is a selfish thing, and I would love for these motherfuckers to start focusing on my selfish ass, bro. If you want my motherfucking money in any capacity, or any gamer's money for any capacity, you need to be worrying about what you deliver to these gamers and what experiences you're giving them, not utilizing the experiences that they already have, or taking the experiences that they've already paid for and putting them behind a paywall inside of a cloud or some bullshit. Instead of doing all of that, these Western companies are coming together to sell their products that have shit to do with actual games. Has something to do with gaming, but it doesn't have anything to do with games. They're not creating games. They're not creating new experiences for new gamers, old gamers, medium level gamers. And just like these companies are at a crossroad on what they're going to do or what they're trying to do to improve their businesses, gamers are also at a crossroad to make sure to let them know what's important, to remind them as to what's important, because they want us to fund them. They want us to give them money and actually help them, like he just said, spread the word that their OSs can work on the platforms that you already own and other third-party platforms, and we just want to get in everywhere and do what they want you to work for them. That's why this whole thing was boring as fuck. This entire little meeting they have for this, what's supposed to be an exciting new hardware announcement, is just them saying, hey, the Steam Deck, OS, and nothing about actually bringing new gaming experiences for new, old, and whatever level gamer you are. And that's a message that we got to send to everyone, not just them, not just Microsoft, no, everybody, Steam, PlayStation, Nintendo, everybody needs to make sure that they are delivering the experiences that we deserve for the money that we put into this entire hobby that we have, period. No matter what level nigga you is. You should be demanding everything. At the end of the day, every console is going to have its weakness. Every console is going to have its strength. Every PC and all that shit going to have its weaknesses and strengths and all that good shit. But one thing is clear, one thing is for sure, that if you are a gamer and you are willing to give these gaming companies money, they need to be able to give you games to experience with. And it just seems that a lot of the focus has gone away from that. That's all I got to say on this fucking matter. Whether you like it or not, like I said, say it's gonna beat Wii U, let me fucking know. You know what I'm saying? Put it in there, but please explain how. Please explain how. If it ain't about making games, I need you to explain how the fuck it's gonna outsell a Wii U, my nigga. Because I mean, you might buy it. You as an individual. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the masses. I'm talking about what they are going to deliver and what have they just said that's going to sell you on this product. Let me know. King Thrust Gaming. I'm out.